This is a dumbbell. While it may not look like much, you can use a couple of these to get in the best shape of your life. In this video, I'm going to give you a full body dumbbell only workout routine that you can use to do exactly that. This beginner friendly workout can be done in less than an hour, and it can be done at home, at your local gym, at a hotel that you're staying at, or wherever else you can find a set of dumbbells to use. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'm not only going to give you the entire workout routine, but I'm also going to give you alternative exercises and a 4-step process to use to ensure that you get incredible results. This is a workout routine that's intended to be done anywhere from 1 to 3 days a week, hitting all the major muscle groups in your body. If you're looking to work out more than 3 days a week, this split might not be for you. Check out this video here to see alternative exercise routines. However, if you're new to working out or aren't available many days to work out in a given week, this is the perfect routine for you. I'm going to take you through the exercises that you need to do, as well as some recommended rep counts, sets, and rest times. After that, I'll show you some variations that you can implement to add some variety to your routine, and I'll also give you some principles that you need to live by when you're using this training routine. Let's go ahead and go through the exercises. The first exercise that we're going to be doing is the bench press. It's important to remember to keep 4 points of contact on the bench at all times, that being your feet, your butt, your shoulder blades, and your head. Keep your shoulder blades retracted throughout the entire movement. We'll be doing that for 3 sets of 6 to 12 with 2 minutes of rest. As far as variations go, one that you can do is an incline bench press, shown here. You can do either a 15-degree angle for the bench or a 30-degree angle, whichever feels best for you. But the same principles apply as with the regular bench press. Another exercise that you can do is the seated overhead press. One thing that I like doing is rather than having the seat height perfectly vertical, I'll set it down 1 notch to make it feel more comfortable and easier to press over your head. Another exercise that you can do are push-ups. A lot of times these can be viewed as kind of a basic exercise, but if done well, these can be really stimulating for growth. Really control yourself all the way down and bring your chest as low as you can. If push-ups really are too easy, you can add some weight on your back, as you can see here. That takes us to our second exercise, which is going to be a 1-arm row. You want your opposite knee and opposite hand to be firmly planted on the bench, and really focus on keeping that torso in a straight line and pulling that weight all the way up until it reaches your waist. We're going to be doing the same rep scheme, 3 sets of 6 to 12 with 2 minutes rest in between. Now looking at variations, one that you can do is an incline row like this. I like to set it at a 30-degree angle, firmly plant your chest on the bench, and pull that weight until it reaches your side. Another exercise that you can do is the upright row, which is going to put a lot more emphasis on the upper back. Pull those dumbbells up in a straight line towards your face until your upper arm is parallel with the ground. Now we're going to look at our third exercise, which is the goblet squat. Some of the key pointers here are to keep your feet firmly planted on the ground and to think about pushing your hips back like you're sitting back into a chair. One of the variations that we can do are lunges like so. Thinking about stepping forward, having both of your legs be at a 90-degree angle at the bottom, and holding those weights at the sides, as you can see here. One of the ways to add challenge to this exercise is to do rear foot elevated split squats. You really want to think about pushing through that front heel and not using that back leg for any assistance. The next exercise we're going to do is Romanian deadlifts, which are going to do really well at targeting the hamstrings and glutes. You really want to think about pushing your hips backwards and keeping that lower back straight. We're going to do 3 sets of 8 to 12 with 2 minutes rest. For variations, we're going to be doing the same lift, just in different positions. So this is going to be split stance. Really think about that back leg just being there for balance. If that's too easy, you can move on to single leg RDLs like so. Really think about pushing that back leg as far back as you can and moving about the hips. The next exercise we're going to be doing is an alternating bicep curl, like so. We're going to be doing 2 sets of 8 to 12 with a 1 to 2 minute rest. One of the variations that you can do is a hammer curl. where you keep that wrist in that neutral position all the way through the movement, holding the dumbbell vertically. Another exercise you can try is a seated bicep curl. You really want to think about stretching those biceps as much as you can when you get to the bottom here. And this variation is going to be a preacher curl. Obviously, we don't have the equipment necessary to do the machine preacher curl, but you can use a dumbbell oriented like this for a similar effect. That brings us to our last exercise, which is going to be skull crushers to focus on those triceps. We're going to be doing 2 sets of 8 to 12 with 1 to 2 minutes rest, trying to keep those elbows locked in a fixed position. Variations that you can do are bench dips like so, placing your feet out in front of you and lowering yourself down until your upper arm is parallel with the floor. Or you can do an overhead tricep extension with a dumbbell like this, really thinking about getting a deep stretch at the bottom of this position. And if you're a big fan of those push-ups, you can do a variation that targets the triceps by putting your hands closer together than shoulder width. Now you might be thinking, great, now I have everything that I need to get in great shape, right? Well, not exactly. While these exercises are some of the best exercises that you can do to build muscle at home, it's not everything. While these exercises are some of the best exercises out there for gaining muscle with dumbbells, there are 4 important principles that you need to adhere to ensure success on your fitness journey, with the 4th principle being by far the most important. So make sure to stick around for that. The first principle that you need to be training by is training close to failure. Your muscles are not going to be sufficiently stimulated to respond and adapt if they're not being challenged. That's why it's so important to ensure that you're always training within a few reps of failure. Whether you'd like to train close to failure or all the way to failure is up to you. It's a matter of personal preference. But the most important thing that I would push is to train close to failing. An important factor of training close to failure is knowing when failure is. That's why I recommend at least occasionally taking your sets to failure. That way you can get a feel for what training to failure feels like, and you can know when you're close to failing. So we've talked about the importance of training close to failure. Now let's talk about the second principle that you need to be training with, which is progressive overload. What progressive overload means is that you're increasing the difficulty of the exercise over time so that your muscles are having to continually adapt to a greater and greater stimulus. The 3 easiest ways for you to progress in your exercises is by increasing the weight, increasing the number of reps, or increasing the number of sets that you do over time. If you aren't continuing to increase the stimulus to your muscles, they may grow for a short time, but they won't continue to grow because they will no longer need to adapt to your training. Make sure that you're pushing yourself hard because you likely won't make any progress without it. If you're new to training, you'll probably make big gains in the first weeks and months, but after that, your progress will start to taper off, making it especially important to make sure that you're progressing the exercises correctly. So we've talked about training close to failure. We've talked about progressive overload. Now let's talk about the third principle, which is training through a deep range of motion. While the loading of an exercise is important for it to be effective, the stretch on the muscle is equally important. Studies have shown time and time again that the training of the muscle in the stretch position is the most important part for muscle growth. So when you're doing these exercises, don't get lazy. Lower the weight down in a controlled manner until you feel a good stretch in your muscle, pause briefly, and then push that weight back to the top. So we've talked about training close to failure, we've talked about progressive overload, and we've talked about training through a deep range of motion. All of these are important principles to make sure you're adhering to when you're training, but they are not nearly as important as the 4th principle, which is the most essential, which is training consistently. You can do all of these exercises exactly how I explained and even adhere to the 3 principles that I've been talking about well, but if you're not working out consistently, you're not going to see any results. So, above all else, make a schedule and decide how many times you're going to work out in a given week and stick to it. I would personally recommend 3 days a week if you can, but if you can only do 2 or 1, that's okay. Just make sure that week in, week out, you are sticking to that routine. Like I said, if you're looking to work out more than 3 days a week, The full body split may not be ideal for you, so you can check out other videos on my page to learn other splits that you can do that will accommodate for a higher frequency workout split. But that's all I got. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.